How are you guys all doing? I have a little special treat today. I think it's a special treat anyway. I do a lot of Bible reviews and I love resources and putting resources out there for everybody the best that I can. But this is not a Bible that you can buy, and I just thought it would be cool to take a look at. You can tell that it's a little bit worn. This is an old Bible that my dad found, and I'm super excited to get to see it and take a look at it. And I know a couple things about it, but not a ton. So we'll take a look. It's a self-pronouncing Holy Bible. I looked inside before I'm showing this to you all. With the words of Jesus printed in red. So this is a red letter edition. You can tell just by looking at it, it's a little old. And I am going to tell you how old it is. So on the front, it says Holy Bible, red letter edition. And I was looking through it with my dad. I believe that the title page, we'll take a look at it here in just a second, says that this Bible was made or came from 1895, I believe. And what I do know is that the family member that owned it was born in 1835. So I think that it's pretty cool that one of my family members who was born in 1835 held this Bible, which was made over 100 years ago. If it was, let's turn the page here and we'll take a look at what the actual date is. But red letter art edition, I'm assuming Sunday school teachers combination, and I'll show you why it probably says that. I'm doing my best to handle it carefully because these pages, yeah, look at that, copyright. Copyright 1895. So this is an old Bible. This is one of the reasons we keep our Bibles. It's a great reason to buy a decent Bible. I'm sure when this was purchased, it was really nice in 1895. I'm sure it was the nicest quality that they had because it would have probably gone away a long time ago. King James, so the text is the King James. Authorized King James version of the Holy Scripture, published originally in 1611. So it has a little preface in there, and this is kind of cool. It does have, it has basically a synopsis of each of the books. So it gives you, just the books and their chapters and the pages that they start on. And then it gives you a synopsis of each one of the books. Again, it says Sunday School Edition. That's probably for the Sunday school teachers. And it's just a little, maybe back in the day, this was like a study Bible, a little one paragraph. And I haven't read all these to find out how theologically accurate they are, but you know what? A lot of the theologians that I respect the most have been dead for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's probably pretty good information in here. You know what they say? A Bible that's falling apart usually belongs to somebody who isn't. So you have the text here. I'm not even going to try to tell you about the paper because this paper is from 1895. So it's 2020 now. It's 120 years old, 125 years old. And that's old. But it's held up. What do you know? It's held up. It's still easy to read. Nothing that I can see as I flip through it, nothing about the ink has changed. It's still very easy to read. The text is a little small. If I had to guess, I would say it's like a 7 or an 8-point font. The line matching did not exist. But actually, the ghosting's not bad. Now, that might be because it's 120 years old and the paper is not as white as it used to be. It is thicker than an average Bible that you'd buy now. It still has a few cross references and a few notes, but not tons. It does have, which I'm not a huge fan of. I wouldn't get it on my personal Bible, but the little tabs, the little index tabs. And it honestly is hard to tell if there was any art gilting. It looks like there might have been some red and some gold in there, but it's hard to tell. Let's flip to the back because I saw this when I was looking through this Bible with my dad. So you're at Revelation now, right? And that's it. Revelation's over. Look at all this information in the back. I will be looking through this in one way or another and reading some of this because I want to know what's in there. But I flipped through some of it and we'll take a look. There's a whole lot of charts and like ancient text, I guess, what you'd call Hebrew and Phoenician alphabets, Greek and Latin alphabets. There's even, look, the Rosetta Stone. What do you know? So there's a whole lot of little ancient artifacts that you can read about in here. Egyptian gods and goddesses, who they were. Look, this one's name was Amen. A chronological table. This is cool. And I'm really excited to take a look through this more in depth. But a chronological table of events. So we'll move it up a little bit closer. This Bible has the creation of the world at 4004 BC. Either way, I think this is interesting. If you don't think this is interesting, I'm sorry. I think this stuff is super cool, especially the fact that this is coming out of a Bible that's 125 years old. So how to study the Bible. These are little helps that they have all in the back of this. So it almost is like a study Bible of the day. I'm guessing that's why they called it a Sunday School Teachers Edition, because it helped the Sunday school teachers understand a little bit more about what's in here. Table of mentioned scriptures. And then there are some, like a concordance, and the concordance is pretty good sized, actually. Harmony of the four Gospels. So which stories go with which Gospels? Interesting. I mean, it's just this cool information that I even don't see some of this. I have a lot of study Bibles. You guys have seen me reviews a lot of study Bibles. They don't have stuff like this in it. And maybe that's just because I don't have the right one yet. So if you know of one that has this stuff modern, send it to me or let me know where I can find it so I can review it for you guys. Warnings and promises. Okay, so look at all this information in the back of this Bible from 100 years ago. This has a pretty decent sized concordance. Now, because I wasn't alive 120 years ago, I don't know what their concordances were like. I don't know how long, and I could do a little bit of research on this and find out if Strong's exhaustive concordance, what it looked like in 1895 or in 1900. But this is a pretty thick concordance compared to what we get in our study Bibles. I mean, look at it. It starts right about here. Look, probably not starts about here. This is where it starts. I'm in V, so the whole thing is, look at, that's a lot of text in there. That's a big concordance to have in a Bible. 5,000 questions and answers. I can't wait to read through this because I want to know what their questions are and I want to know what their answers. Where did God place man when he had created him? In the Garden of Eden, near the river Euphrates, and it gives you a verse. Look at, so I get to go through 5,000 of these and check them out. See what the theologians of this day thought, what they wrote, and what their answers were. So I thought this was just a fun little thing to show you guys, because not everybody is privy to a Bible that's this old. I got lucky, and my parents have one or two. I think my mom has one too that I'll probably borrow indefinitely. But what a cool thing. So I want to end with this and say, first of all, I hope that you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. And if you're a Bible lover, if you're a Christian, stuff like this is pretty cool, I think, because it's our history, it's our family's history. I want to mention a couple of things that I can learn from the past. And I've talked about this before on some of my modern Bibles. I really, really wish this Bible had an actual, in some Bibles, you get, marriages, deaths, births. You get a section to put all that stuff in, genealogy section. I wish that this Bible had one. that is going to motivate me. The fact that I'm looking at this 125 years later, I will go through every Bible that I have that has the genealogy section, and I will fill it out to the best of my ability. Because in 120 years, if somebody's looking at my Bible, I want them to have that, because I think it would be super cool to be reading that right now. Another thing that I wish this person had done, and it might not have been a thing back then because there's not enough room, but I wish they would have written in here. I would really love to read what they had to say and what they were thinking, what my family member 100 years ago was thinking when they were reading this text. I think that would have been cool. Now, again, this might have been most likely was the only Bible that their family had for 20, 30, 40, 50 years potentially, because you couldn't just run down to the Walmart and grab yourself a $10 Bible off the shelf. And so they, chances are, treated it a lot differently than we treat ours. But it's also motivation for me to write, take notes, at least have one Bible that you write in and take notes, and that can be passed down because your kids are going to want to read it. Just like 100 years later, I would really have loved to have heard more about what this person who owned this Bible back in 1900, what they were thinking and what they were going through. So anyway, you guys, I appreciate it. I hope this has been cool for you, because it's been cool for me. It's going to live on my shelf safely until my kids take it from me. Have a great day.